Looks to come inside and fire one a goal and find the back of the net for Perth.
And the Azzurri have come back from 2 goals down to tie it up.
Cue the celebrations for the Azzurri.
Yeah, welcome to the first ever edition of the Perth SC Podcast. Hugely exciting times here at the Perth Soccer Club. Huge season underway. My name's Blayne Treadgold, and this will be a weekly edition, hopefully. Each and every Wednesday night, you'll be able to tune in to the Perth SC Podcast as we go behind the scenes into what is happening at the famous old Azzurri club. Alongside me throughout this bit of a journey for the next few weeks is Ben Stroud. A big, g'day to you, mate.
G'day. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'll tell you what, that intro music, if that does not get you going, I don't know what will.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
It's phenomenal, yeah.
And a big shout out to my good friend Matt Burke, who's pretty sensational when it comes to the music and the production and everything. He's put that together especially for us. So a big thanks to him. Mate, decent season, difficult season. Probably not sitting where Perth, particularly the men will want to be sitting at the moment, but how are you seeing it all?
No, look, I think that's pretty clear with the standards that we've got as a team and as a club. Where we are on the table is definitely not where we want to be, and we've got the ambitions to definitely to fix that, to get out the other end of the up the other end of the table, and we're going to keep working and keep grinding until that happens. So, look, we've set ourselves a good challenge basically, and that's what we can look forward to for the rest of the season.
We'll have a bit of a look at some of the recent results in just a quick second, Ben. But I guess introduce yourself to the audience because, unfortunately, you've been injured. We haven't seen the best of Ben Stroud yet for the Azzurri.
No, not by a long shot. Managed to get make my debut on Friday, which was a real treat, to be honest, and something that I wasn't actually expecting this early as well. It's been a tough road to get here. And yeah, disappointing for sure, because I was very excited when I got the opportunity to come over and sign for Perth. I was very excited. I'd only heard really good things about the club with an extremely strong history and with an incredible location at the same time. Like the first time I rocked up to DG, it was unbelievable, and I'm just like, I can't wait to get going. So I came in January. Super excited, ready to go. Cracked into training the first week. We started off with a yo-yo test at 6:30 in the morning, and I think it was about 27 degrees, and I'd just come from Christchurch, and look, I think Christchurch is an absolutely beautiful place, but I tell you what, if it's that hot that early in the morning, I was not ready. So that was a bit of a shock to the system, but yeah, trained for the first week, and then unfortunately the body broke down a wee bit, and it's been a reoccurring injury that I've had over the last probably 7-8 years, and just unfortunately it managed to strike at that time. But I got to give a massive thanks to the staff, Katie, the physio, everyone else, the coaches, and all the players as well have helped me through that time. And look, there's been so many people at the club that have just been encouraging and supporting me to get back on the park. So a massive thank you to everyone who's been on that journey at the same time.
So let's go back a few steps. Danny Hay brought you in. You had previous dealings with and worked under him before.
Yeah. So that's actually quite a funny story. It was one of the highlights of my career, and people think I'm crazy for calling it a highlight. But when I was 16 years old, I was playing high school football down in Christchurch, New Zealand, and managed to get a call up to the Wellington Phoenix Academy, so I moved over up to Wellington for that. Luckily, being in a part of that A-League kind of setup, you get a good shout and good look at the under-17 national team. So Danny was actually the coach of that, and he gave me a call up to some camps and then to a tour over to Doha as well. And that's leading up to the World Cup. I think it was in Chile that year. I wouldn't know because I think it was 2 days before the team got on the plane to go to the World Cup. FIFA had actually cleared a couple of international players, and so had to have that tough conversation with Danny, and I got dropped from the under-17 World Cup team 2 days before the team flew out.
No way.
Yeah, look, obviously, I still had that rapport with Danny in the first place. And yeah, obviously, I call it a highlight because, to be honest, if I was to go over there, I don't think I was ready at that time. Oh. And so to have that setback, it sparked something in me to drive me on to actually work harder, to want it more, and to actually go through the process of wanting it instead of having it right then. So yeah, look, it's I call it one of the best things that actually happened to me in my football career, and look, now it's led me to this incredible place. And unfortunately didn't get to work with him on the park, which would have been great, but he's given me an opportunity to be here, and I thank him for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just a bit of heartbreak there at such a young age, mate. How do you feel you dealt with that at the time?
Oh, not well. I cried. I cried, like the little kid I was. But I'm blessed with two parents who have dealt with a lot of setbacks, and they've been in high performance sport themselves, and they supported me. And just look, I think I dealt with it well because I looked at my next steps and I thought, okay, what's the best thing for me? So I went back to Wellington with a chip on my shoulder for sure, feeling like something I had to prove. And I was lucky enough to then go forward. And after Wellington, I had the option of either staying there or I could go over to America and go do the US college journey. So I actually opted for that. And I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to a Division I university, Missouri State University, and in good old Missouri, the redneck centre of America. Are
we allowed to say that?
Oh, I don't know, but look, if you throw a dart, I think I've got some of my best mates are there, and if they heard that, they'd be like, "Yeah, that's bang on." So, no, it's honestly Midwest hospitality. What a place! People don't even know where Springfield, Missouri is, but I'll tell you what, I had some of the 4 best years of my life.
I'm going to break you up here. That's not the place that the Simpsons is named
there's
after,
multiple Springfields, but they're I don't know which state that they're in, but they're in a different one. Nah, not my one.
No, good stuff. Take us inside I've spoken to a few people that have had experiences in the college system. Is it like, when I think of the college system, I think of like American Pie and all this kind of, is it?
The movies.
Is it like that?
Look, no, it's not, because I think people get wrapped up in that Hollywood kind of movie thing, right? And like some of those elements, like having fraternities and sororities at schools and things like that, but I don't think people actually understand how massive American college sport is. Like it is over there life and death. Like people like support like their country and like AFL teams over here. Like imagine that, but you've got 120,000 that go to an American football game. Like it's absolutely insane. And the amount of support that athletes get in terms of around not just like their sport, the facilities, what they have, but that high performance development, but then their studies, their school, everything else that comes with it, like rehab for injuries, like everything. You get taken care of so well. And I think from that time of when you're in college, from the ages of, I left home when I was 17, so 17 to 22, it could be, you could say 18 to like 23, 24, however long you spend over there, like that is a massive time of your life where you're developing and you're actually trying to figure out what you want to do. So to have those support networks around you and that infrastructure is, I think it's second to none.
The college football system, I kind of think about American or football in the USA, should I say, the same way that I kind of think about Australian, is that at grassroots it's massive, but at a professional level it's probably not as big as their domestic codes, similar to AFL here.
Yeah, so we're talking like soccer, American soccer. Yeah, so like you're bang on. It's very, America's weird because you get to this point where they play at an elite level and they want to make it to college because then you've got the best chance of going as a pro, right? But then the funny thing is that after that step, you either go pro or you stop playing. There's nothing else after it. So they've got no grassroots team to go to after university. So yeah, it's kind of like an ultimatum where a lot of people, they call them, I think NARPs. So it's like non-athletic regular people. That's what they say. So you've got college athletes and then you've got non-athletic regular people. Yep. So that's what happens when they finish. So yeah, you either sign these massive pro contracts that like see these drafts happening and things like that, or they stop playing completely, which I think is a shame because there's so much talent over there. And look, I think that you can even look at like the A-League Women's, for example. Yeah. So I just know because of the Wellington Phoenix that they got a couple players from the University of North Carolina. So they got Haley Davidson and Isabella Cox, who are very, very, very good players, and they come over and made an impact in that team. So I think it's a pathway that people don't look at enough. And look, I know that there's incredible youth talent all around Perth, like just seeing that. And if it's not advertised enough, it's something that people can definitely look at.
Yeah, I mean, a shout out to Jackson Lee, who's over there with Rhode Island at the moment. So, and he's going through that system as well. So, I mean, it can be done. And a big shout out to Jackson Lee as well. Mate, let's get to the here and now. Let's have a bit of a chat about what we saw across the weekend. And you did get 20, 25 minutes, was it? Roughly?
About 30. So Abdul scored the second goal, I think, on 60, and I came on straight after that. So, I was... the lungs were feeling it. I'll tell you what, the head was definitely rusty, and there's a few cobwebs to dust off. But like running on in front of a pretty standout crowd at DG under the lights, I was like,
something about those Friday night games, isn't there?
Friday night under the lights. Yeah. What more do you want?
Yeah, exactly right, mate. How did you pull up, and how did you? Obviously, you said you were a little bit rusty, which I guess is a little bit understandable. But all's well elsewhere.
Yeah. Look, I'm very happy with how things are going in terms of rehab and stuff like that, and to get the minutes and to have the confidence from the gaffer and from the boys to be out there. I was stoked. So to be back involved, honestly, it's a special feeling because I mean anyone who goes through injuries in their career, no matter what sport it is, you know how tough it is to feel like you're isolated and that you don't have like your finger on the pulse. So yeah, to be back involved, it was a very special feeling.
What's going on with the injuries in those defensive stocks, mate? There's been a few this year, and good to see yourself coming back. Judd's coming back. Yeah. Unfortunately, Zaid's still out.
Yeah.
Is there something in the water? Something we need to know about?
Yeah, just defenders are a soft breed these days, mate. That's all. So yeah, it's no, I don't think that there's anything it's just sometimes it happens. I don't think there's anything particularly going on, but yeah, it's good to see that the boys are coming back and like the likes of Juddy getting healthy again. Yeah, hopefully Zaid has a speedy recovery too and gets back as well because he's an important member of our team.
Absolutely. So, mate, I mean, obviously you'll be looking to slot back into that spot, but there's a bit of competition for spots at the moment.
100%. That's what you want in any squad, right? I think like they say it's pretty cliche, but like you're only as strong as your bench at the end of the day because you need people to come on and replace and compete for spots. So, like, I understand that, and I'm ready to fight for it. Like that's just how it is. It's how I was raised. So, like I think it's just healthy, and we've got a really good group of lads. Like I'm pretty lucky. I've been in some locker rooms where it's not friendly and it's there's a bit of a toxic culture, but I've also been in some incredible ones and blessed to be part of that. And I can tell you that like there's a real good group of lads here. So I'm stoked with that.
Yeah, great stuff there. On the weekend we saw a 3-3 result against Bayswater City. Big Frank with a bomb early, mate. That was I think he caught Luis Italiano napping a little bit.
A bomb. I'm going to say he shanked it. I'm going to say he absolutely shanked it. But no, to be fair, like credit to him for seeing it. And look, I think he's an incredible player. He's got great vision and sees things differently to a lot of other defenders. But to actually execute that from, I think it was 38 to 40 yards. Like
it was out there.
Yeah, and put it in the bottom corner where Italiano couldn't reach it. And like, class.
Well, I got to admit, it caught me by surprise and everyone else because I said, who actually scored that? Because it was Big Frankie in the end who ended up putting that away. Abdul with 2 on the weekend. Gee, some big, important clutch goals, weren't they?
Yeah. Abdul's been class, to be fair, and he's a class player and he can impact games, and credit to him for delivering when we needed it. So, it was impressive. Like the first finish was. I think it was a minute build-up. If you actually go back to and watch how we scored that goal, we had the ball for a minute and played some really, really good football all in their half and pinned them in. I think Frankie got the assist for that, right? He's our centre-back, and he gave Abdul the ball in about 25 yards to goal.
Correct.
So that tells you how aggressive we're playing and how high up the park we're playing, because for him to do that, to drive and then find a slider, for then Abdul to take a touch and whip it far post... unreal.
And rewarded, because I think it just came out today that he's been called up for the Somalia national team.
Yeah, Somalia national team.
Huge accolade.
Yeah. The boys are stoked for him. To be honest, like he deserves it. He can be an incredible player and impact the game, just by his talent and what he does. Look, credit him. He works hard too, so he deserves it. Good on him.
You mentioned it's a good bunch of lads, and everyone was very welcoming. Was there anyone in particular that kind of took you under their wing and kind of showed you the ropes around Perth and everything else?
Honestly, everyone. Like, Harley Orr, our captain, was great. Feddy was great. Diddy, unreal. Like, these boys pick me up for training, like get me to training, take me to games, things like that. All of these boys have been phenomenal, and like we got a great group of lads. And then it goes back to like the back staff and even members of the club as well. Like Jason and Christian Marocchi, like have looked after me unbelievably and made sure that everything's comfortable and that I'm enjoying it and things like that. So I can't thank this club and the people enough for making the transition easy, especially at a tough time not being able to play.
Oh, absolutely, and even just from my couple of years here, and in an official capacity, I mean, I certainly felt the same way, and everyone's very welcoming and they're very forgiving as well. So it is a wonderful thing to be involved with the Perth Soccer Club. Looking ahead to this week, we've got Gary Marocchi and Federico Achilli to come a little bit later on in the program, but just a quick look at this week. Big game against Fremantle City.
Yeah, I think it's important for us as well. I think with the form that we've been gaining, I think that it's going to be a tough game because I know that they bet Western Knights at the weekend. I think they won 3-0, so they're in good form too. And look, it's two teams that are ready to battle and go try and get 3 points. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
no, absolutely, and it will be tricky and. Obviously knocked out of the cup last year by Fremantle City when they were in Div 1. They've come up and certainly caused a few teams some issues. But looking forward to a big fixture this weekend. If you want to get along to that one, Fremantle City away at Hilton Park, 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. And of course, the women's will be happening on Sunday. So looking forward to that as well. We better go to a quick break because we're going to come out the other side and, the Godfather of Perth Soccer Club, Mr. Gary Marocchi, he's going to join us next. Welcome back to the Perth SC Podcast. Blayne, Treadgold, Ben Stroud. It's time we get to a special guest on this first ever episode of the Perth SC Podcast. Can we call him the Godfather of Perth Soccer Club, Benny?
I'd say 100%. Just from what I've heard from my short time here, I've heard he is the Godfather of Perth Soccer Club. So
let's welcome him, Mr. Gary Marocchi. Welcome, mate.
Welcome, thanks a lot. I don't think I'm that heralded as the Godfather, but I am around. So
great to see you here every week, and the Marocchi family, of course, a big part of the Perth Soccer Club over many, many years. Gary, thoughts on the season so far?
Yeah, it's been possibly a little bit disappointing. Obviously, we're down at the wrong end of the table. We'd certainly like to be up at the other end, but we'll see, I think, a bit of improvement throughout the rest of the year. So I think, obviously, we've got to head for a top 4 spot. So let's see how we go. Saturday will be a very tough game, and if we can overcome that, obviously everything will be in a forward direction.
Absolutely. Gary, we'll talk about the game coming up this weekend, but I guess it's a good chance for you, people that aren't familiar with your history with the Perth Soccer Club. Take us back to some of your early memories and how you first got involved.
Jesus, my memory deserts me, but I did start. I was the youngest of 3 other brothers, and I started. We didn't have under 6s at that time. I think under 10s was the youngest age group that was there, and I was playing when I was 7, and then I always played with older players because that was the only teams. We only had 12s, 14s, 16s. We didn't have one age group gaps like they have now. But obviously you played against older players a lot, and I got shunted up the ladder very quickly. I can recall that I played my first senior game as a 15-year-old and turning 16, and I was playing on Peter Perich. None of you would know him, but he played for Swan Valley. and it was like kicking vegetables in the garden. That's how tough the guy was. But it was a daunting task. But I've thoroughly enjoyed all the time that I've played and coached, and also been as a member of the board and that. So it's a long history with our family. My father played in the first team of the club, and my uncle was the first president of the club. So there's a long history in our family name.
Am I right in saying you started at about 16?
16. Right? That's in the senior team.
It's pretty young age to be starting, especially. So can you run us through potentially some of like your favourite memories from that time?
Oh, at my age now, Ben, I don't have a very good memory now, but obviously thoroughly enjoyed the time that I played at Perth. Yeah, I can recall that I was in a national team that trained. We had a camp here that we had like training twice a day for 2 weeks. That was before the Russia series. And then I ended up coming back playing in the night series, and I scored 10 goals from midfield. So obviously I was a hell of a lot fitter because we were training like full-time pros. Makes a big difference when you are training like a professional. And, obviously Glory in our A-League team would obviously be in that boat. They're obviously a little bit sharper, but, there are a lot of players in the state league that if they had the opportunity, they could certainly do the business, I reckon.
Yeah, that's I think that's a good shout, and I think it speaks to the level. Just coming over here and being new to this league as well speaks to the level. Obviously, in my first run around myself, I was quite shocked and surprised by how quick and how intense it was. So I couldn't agree more with the level of training and spending more time. I'm sure that there's players that haven't had the chance to be looked at here that will get opportunities.
Yeah, but it is difficult, obviously, in WA. The financial side of things are not as great as what they are in other states. We don't have poker machines. We don't have these large licensed premises. And, we lose players from Perth quite regularly that go to Melbourne clubs, and that's because the salaries are a lot more. And younger players are happy to, get that little bit extra money than they get here to get a little part-time job, and they survive. But obviously family-related people makes it very difficult unless you get an A-League contract to move into state.
Gary, you spent some time, of course, at Perth, and then I guess I wanted to delve into your time. You just touched on it there with the Socceroos. How did that all come about?
Well, it first started in 75 when we had that training camp in Perth prior to the Russia series. And Brian Green was the coach. Brian Green came from, I think, Rochdale in England. He didn't last very long because his time in Perth was not the best. He got caught for shoplifting in Perth, and he ended up obviously losing his job. And then Jimmy Shoulder came in, and Jimmy Shoulder gave me an opportunity. And but after the first year, I ended up having a very severe ankle operation, and that virtually cost me a fair bit of time. And I'd have to be honest, I never fully recovered. It's one of those things that you just have to accept, and you just move on, and other players take an opportunity.
Obviously, in modern times, there's been talk about players having to go over east to get in the eyes of Socceroos. I imagine it was a pretty similar kind of situation.
I'd have to give you, you have a look at a couple of these selections for the A-League All-Stars and all that. Okay, Adam Taggart got in, but in the women, we had the best goalkeeper in the country. She didn't get picked in the A-League, the W League All-Stars. Yep. Now, I just can't believe that. You're the best goalkeeper in the competition, and there's two other goalkeepers get selected before you. And it's very strange, and obviously could be financial related that, she got selected in a under-23 team, but it's not at the same time as the, this game that's, I think it's tonight, isn't it? No, it might be later in the week because tonight is at Tottenham and the men's
Newcastle
game tonight, yep.
In terms of like the international selection and things like that, now you're looking at there's a lot of talent that's based overseas. Was that actually similar to the time as well, or was it actually more of a pool based in Australia?
There was, at the time that I played in it's called the NSL, there weren't too many players who were playing overseas, and obviously opportunities didn't come. Now, in our time, we didn't have managers, and now players at 16 have already got a manager, and I'm very reluctant to have players. If I had sons and that involved, there's no way I'd be giving them to a manager unless I know who the manager is. I I have a very close relationship with one guy that's Angie Postacoglu's manager, and he's one guy that I could trust. But there's a lot of agents out there that are only in it for one thing, to move you to a club and then keep moving you on, so they get a cut of every move. So it's one of those things. But you just got to take the opportunity if it comes. But it's not easy if you've got a family. If you've got a family, you've got other issues to weigh up, and single guys can take that opportunity. But if you're married with a couple of kids and that, you always got to think, what happens if it doesn't work out? You disrupt your kid's life, and think, especially if they're at school. But it's a decision that every individual's got to make for themselves. If you can succeed in the A-League, you can always do very well here in this country. It's improving, and let's hope that it gets even better.
I wanted to talk about your move to Adelaide City, and Gary, and how that might have come about. Can you take us through that a little bit?
Well, I went on the national team, had a world tour over 7 weeks, and that was 6 months before the NSL started. And one or two of the players, you might know Johnny Niskahus. There was two boys from John Kosmina. They were all from Adelaide. And when we met up, Johnny Niskahus asked me that there were people at the club that wanted to talk to me. I was going to have talks with people in Sydney, because there's a couple of clients that I knew here that had contacts with Sydney Olympic and things like that. And in the end, when I came back from the national tour, I went to Adelaide and played a practice game on a Friday night and signed on Friday after the match. Wow. And then I went home, and then I went back to Adelaide. But Adelaide's like a second home to me. I've made some very close friends with players that played with me, and I still keep in contact with them. So it's probably a great move that I did. And I went to a black and white team, which I'm a Juventus supporter. So it was. They
were known as Adelaide.
They were Adelaide Juventus, yeah. And then obviously with the change of all the ethnic names and all that, they became Adelaide City. But it was a fantastic club, and it still is, struggling at the moment. But they've got a very good clubhouse and licensed premises, and they do quite well. But obviously this year their NPL team is struggling a bit.
We just celebrated the Johnny Birigidi Cup, and I understand that he had a pretty influential effect on your career.
Well, he was one of my first coaches, and I think he's a coach that, he would have a record of every game that he played and how the players performed in each game and all that. And he was a fantastic coach of young players, and he did bring on quite a few players, and I would certainly say that he was very influential in how I progressed as a young player.
Yeah, very, very good. Just looking ahead, Gary, another team that Perth has a huge connection to, and obviously it's turned into much more of a rivalry, is the upcoming game this weekend against Fremantle City, once known as East Fremantle Tricolore.
I'd have to debate that, because it's Fremantle City. Yeah. It's not East Fremantle Tricolore. Yeah. I'm surprised if they were going to have this sort of a game, why wasn't it played at Warwick Park? Because you guys are still quite young, but in the old days, Perth Azzurri used to play East Fremantle Tricolore on Easter Sunday at Warwick Park, and there would at least be 5,000 people there.
Wow!
But if people know, Warwick Park's got this big bank on one side, and that was packed. Yeah. But now you go down there, it's a sad sight with trees and bushes, and the council has just let that ground go to the pack. That would have been a fantastic venue to develop with a kind of, even if it was just terrace seating and a roof cover, that you got a perfect view of the game. And, I can remember some memorable matches down there. Perth Azzurri was playing Tricolore, and it was Perth Azzurri, I think, were the favourites to win. Perth Azzurri went in at losing 4-1 or something, ended up a 5-4 game. So it... some fantastic games. There's, John O'Connell used to play for East Fremantle Tricolore. There's some Huey Miller, a few of the guys that are, of Sons and that are still here. And, it was a fantastic club run by Lou Rickey, who was a fantastic president for their club. And it was sad to see Lou pass away, and it was certainly very sad to see East Fremantle Tricolore, just disappear. The name just disappear.
Yeah, no. Obviously, it's going to be known as the Tricolore Azzurri Cup that both of these teams are going to play for. So I guess a good nod, if not anything, to the history. It's
great to see the Sonia brothers actually as the sponsor of the trophy. And I don't know if there's any prize money involved, but De Sonia have been involved in football here the Desonia Cup went back to the 1960s, or it could have been the late 50s. Okay, it stopped about, 10, 15 years ago, but it's probably one of the longest serving cups in Australian history, I would have thought.
No, fantastic stuff to have a bit of a nod to the history of two great clubs, and long may the rivalry continue for now. Gary, thanks very much for jumping on with us, mate. It's a good bit of insights and a bit of intel into your time with the club, and obviously we look forward to seeing you around the club for many more days to come.
Well, I'll certainly be around. I won't be around during the European Cup, European Champions League, because I'm heading to Germany in 3 weeks.
Oh, there you go.
But thanks very much, and appreciate having me on.
You're on the Perth SC Podcast. Blayne, Treadgold, Ben Stroud. Great to have Gary Marocchi on a little bit earlier, and we thought we might keep the guests coming. And we thought we'd speak to a guy who's, he's around the club just about every day. We see his face, isn't it? And for better or worse, but a huge involvement, of course, as a player in our NPL men's team, but playing a huge role in coaching the magnificent season for the NPL women as well. Federico Achilli, welcome, mate.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
No worries at all, mate. First of all, how's things ticking over? Everything good?
Yeah, enjoying the season so far. So
yeah, no, very, very good. And obviously, let's talk a little bit about your form, mate. How have you seen it so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously at the moment disappointed where we're standing at the moment, but we've had a few changes in coach and getting to learn a new system. So just getting trying to trust that new system.
Was that the alarm for dinner that we heard going through the microphone there, mate? Very good.
Got something to be, mate. You got a date tonight.
Maybe.
Come on. No, you got training in the morning. Come on. Obviously, Feddy, like you started off the season as a teammate. You started off with incredible form. I think you're our top goal scorer in the night series. So talk about like how your confidence is, and how it's been from that start and continuing on. Obviously, we've had a change in coaching staff and things like that. So kind of just go into a bit of detail around that.
Obviously, when I first came to Perth, I actually wasn't the most confident player coming into the squad. And obviously I started out with the reserves for about half a season when I first came in, and then coming in and getting the opportunities that I got and being able to get minutes and build my confidence just helped being around the right people, right coaches, right teammates. And then obviously, in the night series, being able to put a job not only at the back, but also to put in, I think, 3 in the night series just helped out so much. And with Kenny now, obviously he's all about enjoying the game as much as working hard. And I think let's just put another level on top.
Take us into your journey up till now and how you find yourself at Perth, mate.
Yeah, so obviously I first got here in 2021. That was back when Ramon had his final season, and that's when we did the double. So I started out in the reserves there. Had a bit of a rocky start at the start. I think I had a 3-match suspension on something against Floriat. And then after that, got a call up from Ramon after seeing how well I did when I got back in, and ever since stuck with the first team. So, yeah.
Very good. So when did you, and growing up, you played a fair bit, obviously, and, what was that all?
Yeah, I've been around, to be honest. Spent a lot of time down at Stirling Lions first as a junior, even when NPL. Made my senior debut at Kingsway with Graham Normanton.
Yeah, very good.
Obviously, who was a coach here back in the day. And then I played a couple of years over in Spain, so I've done a bit of travelling as well.
How did you find that?
It was a great experience, football-wise. Unreal, different level, very technical.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got their tiki-taka sort of style. But yeah, awesome experience. Loved every bit of it.
When we think about Spain and Italy and all these far off places, we go, they're footballing powerhouses. But I mean, is that the truth? I mean, how well do our juniors and adolescents match up?
Oh no, it's very much the truth. It was actually surprising when I was comparing the juniors, how much more technical they are. They already understand from the age of 8 positions, how to play. They're focusing more on formations and actually how to play the ball around. Here, a bit more trying to focus on how to take a first touch, how to actually pass the ball. They've already got packed down from age of 6. And so it's actually unreal when you head over there and see it for yourself.
What's the value you reckon, and if there's junior players listening to this, that you'd tell them about experiencing overseas or moving away from home to experience lifestyle as a footballer?
Yeah, it's just to try and take on as much as you can. Obviously, being young, it's hard to take on. It might be a little bit overwhelming, but at the same time, they're still young. So the biggest message is, or value is, just enjoy the game as much as you can. You know, if you don't enjoy the game, you're not going to learn, and it's not going to feel as good. So. What
about like the lessons in terms of like being in an uncomfortable new environment as well? Because as a kid, when you've got the likes of family, you got your friends, you got familiar circumstances all around you all the time, moving away in that environment, not only pushing yourself as a player, but in a new lifestyle as well. What's the benefit of that?
Yeah, obviously moving away can be scary, especially for someone quite young. But the benefit can be if you believe in yourself and you got the confidence, you know what your ability is as a footballer. Is if you can show that over there, then over there they'll make you fit in really easy. So if you can bring that, it's a massive benefit. You'll be welcomed in, and there won't be any problems.
I was going to ask you, Feddy, you started off initially at my time at the club over the last few years in an official kind of basis as a centre-half. But we've seen you move out to the right. Do you prefer fullback or you prefer centre half? Or I mean, we haven't seen you play as a 6, mate. So pretty versatile.
Yeah. Well, surprisingly not. When I was younger, I was playing as a striker. So
is that right? There you
chuck
go.
on the gloves, I've played almost every position. So, but no, I really enjoy it. You know, for me, it's just making sure I get minutes every week. Doesn't matter where it is. If the coach asks for a job, I always say, "Yep, no worries." You know, never argue back.
And I was also going to ask about, you know, obviously we spoke a little bit off air before we came on here about your time coaching the girls and you know your coaching journey as well, mate. So how's all that ticking along? Yeah,
it's been fantastic. Obviously, I've only been coaching for us, so I only started last year, and got a bit more full-time role on this year. But it's been fantastic, great, enjoyable. Got a great, an amazing program from under 12s all the way up to even the women's. And yeah, it's all coming along so far.
Well, I was going to ask you about the girls too, because they're flying at the moment, and I think if there's a team that can give Red Star a bit of a shake and the powerhouse that Red Star is, it's going to be this Perth team. And obviously, it's been orchestrated beautifully by Daniel Brogan as well. So, I mean, working with Danny, you know, it must be fantastic to be working with an ex-Matilda as well.
Yeah, 100%. Someone with so much experience just allows you to learn, you know. Only being able to coaching in my second season, it allows me to take on new things and expand my coaching, and what she's doing with the girls is amazing.
You know what it is, Benny? I've noticed it out there. It's a bit of a good cop, bad cop kind of scenario. He's on the sidelines barking, and then Danielle's just in the background
I was going to
putting an
ask
arm
what's
around.
Feddy, because he doesn't have a bad bone in his body.
Well, that's true. But he doesn't mind getting stuck in. He's a passionate boy.
Oh no! One thing that I've learned about Feddy is 100% passion, and that comes out in all areas of football. To be honest, if you're going to ask me who's Mr. Perth SC. From the first minute I got here, it's this guy involved with absolutely everything, which is a credit to him as well. And you can tell not only by the way he's coaching, and obviously you picked that up, but I see it every single day at training. I see it as in every single game in the way he carries himself. So it's a full credit to you, mate, and what you do, which is wicked.
We're going to be a bit careful, mate, because his head's not going to get out that door when we have to pack this up. But no, great stuff, Eddie. And also, take us into this this NPLW team at the moment, because there's some real talent coming through, but there's a lot of hard workers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously last year we lost a lot of players from last year, and so we had to make a lot of new signings, and broke it out, picked the ones that we thought were going to be right. And when we got together at first, we were a little bit worried. At first we worried we weren't actually going to have a team, but once we got into training and we saw how hard everyone worked, and once everyone gelled so quickly, we knew we were going to be fine throughout the season. And then we brought on quite a few A-League women's players. Yep. And and they've gelled in with the squad straight away. So yeah, we're very excited to see what happens. I
wanted to talk about Ella Lincoln, because for me she's been standout this season. We know what she can do in front of goal, Feddy, but just the talent on display. She's someone who many see as can take that next step as well. Yeah, 100%, and it's good. She actually has been recognised. Obviously, she was training on with Glory in the pre-season, and once the season was started, and yeah, I think she's grown as a player. Obviously, last year coming in, I think top goal scorer. Yeah.
and she's continued her form, and she performs week in, week out, trains hard, and is a leader on the field. She might not be captain, but she definitely leads by example for all the girls.
Yeah, partnership with Jess Flannery down that left side is beautiful at the moment. I wanted to talk about, I guess, just to mention some other names. A great player for me, actually, there's two. One's April Nocent and the other one's Ruby Marshall. I mean, the way that they're, and Matilda for that matter, the way they're orchestrating the defence has been beautiful throughout the season.
Yeah, obviously, when we brought them in, obviously Matilda was here last year. Ruby was a youngster coming in, so it's good to see that we're getting some youngsters coming through. Obviously, April came from Backadder, but we knew how valuable he was, and she's showing it through her games. Even Kim there at the back line. So those four, when they're orchestrating everything, it just all clicks. And we could see it from week one, the way they were working together, communicating, organising the people in front of them. So,
big one coming up this week, Freddie. Looking forward to Fremantle on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Looking forward to it. Obviously, we won't have Brogues there, unfortunately, because she decided to go watch the Arsenal game in Melbourne. So,
just having a holiday.
Yeah.
So you're a gaffer. You're in charge.
Apparently so.
Yeah, you're the man in charge.
But no, definitely looking forward to it. The girls have, obviously we take a reset now that we're going into the second round of games. So it's just resetting and make sure we can build up form. Obviously we've got two big games coming up afterwards. So we want to make sure we can build some confidence heading forward.
Yeah. What's the most pleasing thing with this side at the moment? Of course, there's still a way to go yet. But what's the most pleasing thing, do you feel?
I think it was just how competitive we look. Obviously, our only loss came to Redstone, that 2-1, but to see and what we heard after the game, knowing that we were actually outplayed, obviously the result didn't reflect that, but knowing that we can actually be there and compete, I think also builds that load of confidence. So that competitiveness is definitely a big thing for us.
Absolutely. And I guess I will ask you about the Blokes this weekend, mate. Saturday afternoon at Hilton Park, Fremantle. And as we spoke to Gary a little bit earlier, there's a little bit of something in this one, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, last year they knocked us out in the Cup. So I think for our boys, it's going to be a little bit of a revenge game. Obviously, a big occasion for them. So they're going to be up for it. And I think we're starting to find our groove now with Kenny. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very entertaining match. And
while you just mentioned Kenny, how did you find that transition between Danny, and I'll let you both answer this, I guess, between kind of Danny moving on and then Kenny implementing a new style, I guess, and a new approach? How did you all deal with that, do you feel?
Obviously, it was a bit different, two very different styles of play.
Yeah.
Obviously, without the preseason, you had to take that time where you've got to learn the new style, and it took a bit of time. But it was all very exciting at the same time because you know the experience he's got and what he's done, especially in youth development. I think it was a very exciting time. And
what I picked up, and I'll throw this one to you as well, Benny, is just this play up from the back at all costs under Kenny, and obviously implementing that mid-season can be difficult.
Oh, 100%. Look, it's a challenging style of football and it takes a lot of character. Yes, you're going to be put under a lot of pressure, and to be able to play that demanding style, it does take a lot of concentration, focus, and it takes a lot of discipline at the same time. But look, he's asking us to play a style of football that's entertaining. Like, it's also very fun for us to play. So, and I've got to credit Danny, I've got to credit the club, and I've got to credit Kenny as well and the boys, because throughout that period of transition, we've dealt with it with the utmost standards and a high performance mindset, where we've gone from one incredible coach to another, and throughout that everyone's maintained a standard and a focus to like actually apply what everyone said and do it to the best of our ability. So I've got to credit to everyone, and I just see this getting better and better, to be honest. So I'm excited.
I've got to admit, and I've spoken to a few people in the stands, and obviously it's a new skill, and nobody's going to be perfect at a new skill. It's the first time they do it, and everyone's kind of, just kick it out, and you kind of, I guess from your perspective, the idea is not to get into that mindset, is to trust the process and say, hey, we will have some flaws from time to time, but ultimately the destination is going to be where we want to take it.
100%. And I think the last weekend was just a little bit of a taste, and I started to hear some more and more people say like it's getting better, and like they can actually understand why we're doing it, and they can see it happening at the same time. So if the crowd and people watching can understand that and see it, then it gives us more confidence as well, because then it actually shows we're doing it better and better. At the same time, yeah, it does take a lot of effort. It is risky. We understand that, but we are going to do that to the best of our ability and stick to what we're training and working at.
Very good. And obviously, Freddie playing a bit of a different role. I mean, how does this work out for you as a fullback now?
Yeah, it is a bit different. But to be fair, when I first started playing under Graham, I played the first 3 games as a left back. So sort of got a 3-game sort of experience there. But under Kenny's help, I'm definitely growing into it and definitely enjoying it a lot more, getting up and down.
Beautiful stuff, boys. Freddie, we'll let you go, mate. But first of all, we're going to do this each week. And I want to call it Beat Ben, but Ben's like, no, it'll be easy to beat me. I don't want to call it Beat Ben. So we're just going to call it the Perth Soccer Club Podcast Quiz. And we're going to do this every week with various guests that we get on, Freddie. So you're the guinea pig for this, boys. And it's it's a best of 5. And it's all, actually, I've got all questions that revolve around Perth Soccer Club.
Decent. Decent.
So what I want you to do, I want you to use your name as the buzzer. And I want you to tell me for question number 1, in what year was Perth SC founded?
Ben.
Go, Ben.
1948.
1948 is correct. Well, let's give a big correct tick for that one. Question number 2, 1-0 to Ben. Which former Perth SC junior was just promoted with his side Parma to Serie A?
Feddy.
Go, Fed.
Cicardi.
Yes, Alessandro Cicardi. Very prominent name here at Perth Soccer Club. Of course, Gianfranco. We still see him around the club as well. 1 each. Question number 3. Name the English World Cup winner that turned out for the Azzurri in 1980.
Nah, it's not going to come to me. No
me
chance.
neither.
You're all too young.
Yeah.
You're all too young. You're not going to get it.
I don't think so.
Unbelievable.
The amount of times people have said this name as well.
Unbelievable. Probably the most famous name in English and British football, or one of.
Oh, Ben. I'm just going to take a wild guess.
Go on.
Was it Bobby Charlton?
It is Bobby Charlton.
Come on.
He's got it there. Where are we?
enough.
So that is 2-1 to Ben. Here's one. Name the Perth SC player who is currently tied for second in the race for the NPLW Golden Boot.
Ben.
Feddy.
Ooh.
I'm going to give it to Fed just to take this one down to the last question, if I'm honest. Fed?
Ella Lincoln.
Ella Lincoln is correct. Very good. All right, boys, this is it. 2-2. We're going into the 90th minute. Name the Perth SC men's player, the only one to have a red card this season.
Feddy.
Go, Fed.
Me. It's me.
There we go. I had to finish on that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had to finish on that. 3-2.
Fair.
There you go. Very, very good. Feddy, thanks for joining us, mate. And all the best this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on here.
So a big couple of fixtures this week, and looking forward to Saturday afternoon. Fremantle City away as, we're going to be playing for the, I think it's called the Tricolore Azzurri Cup, Ben. So looking forward to that this weekend. And a little bit of a nod, we heard from Gary a little bit earlier on, a bit of a nod to the history, but I guess just another level to this rivalry.
Yeah, 100%. Like, put something on the line and two teams are going to battle it out and try to take the 3 points and the trophy at the end of the day. So personally, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing the performance of the boys as well.
Yeah, some big challenges to come. Everyone fit and healthy. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I can't spill any secrets for anyone who's listening out there. So I'll keep that one under wraps.
All right, there we go. We're not too sure. We're playing a bit of chess into this one. It's got a little bit on the line, and very much looking forward to it. Also on the Sunday, it'll be the NPL Women in action, and that will be also happening down there at Hilton Park on Sunday. Looking forward to another big 3 points for the girls, Benny.
Yeah, look, they've been in incredible form, and credit to them for their process and what they're going through. Hopefully, another 3 points, and they can look at really nailing what they do and their process and how they play. So more goals, and look, we've talked about a few of the players and how good form that they're in. So I'm looking forward to that. And obviously Feddy gave us a bit of an insight that he's running the ship this weekend with Brogues missing. So good luck to him, and good luck to all the women.
Yeah, absolutely, as well as our 18s and our 20s and our juniors who are well and truly involved in their seasons at the moment. And obviously Perth Azzurri known for producing plenty of great youngsters coming through. And fantastic to see all the juniors having a ball each and every Sunday morning. I think it is down there at Forest Park as well. So great stuff, including you're involved in that, aren't you?
under 15s. Yeah,
15s. How they going?
Coaching. Unfortunately, the boys didn't quite make Division 1, so they're in Division 2 for the split. But I think all the splits just happened last week. So good luck to all the junior teams going into their new form competitions. Yeah,
beautiful stuff. Ben, thanks very much, mate. We'll see you this time next week. Big thank you to Gary Marocchi and Federico Achilli. And you'll be able to get this as a podcast each and every Wednesday. We're aiming to try and get this out. You'll be able to grab this through Spotify and Apple and wherever you get all good podcasts. For now, this is goodbye from the Perth SC Podcast. Come on, the Azzurri.